Home to the world's oldest living desert, Namibia boasts some of the most magnificent and rugged landscapes on Earth. The mind-blowing beauty of the Namib Desert has to be seen to be believed. We are starting our adventure here in southern Namibia, where we will marvel at the incredible landscapes and unique Quiver Tree Forests near Keetmanshoop, see proof that the desert does things on its own terms in Kolmanskop, and do some camping in style near Mount Durban.
We left Port Nolloth and driving north into Africa, we've crossed the border into Namibia, and we're now in one of the biggest towns in southern Namibia called Keetmanshoop. And we're checking out a few things here, the Quiver Tree Forests, and we're here in Giant's Playground, which is a lot of rocks, a lot of old rocks. And we're just checking out what there is to see here in the area. So a few quick facts about Namibia. It's the second least populated country in the world.
Despite its low population, Namibia is home to 13 different ethnic groups.
There are about 30 different languages spoken here.
Namibia is the first country in the world to incorporate environmental protection into its constitution.
90% of the land is still in its natural habitat.
Namibia is the only country in the world that federally protects its entire coastline.
Namibia is home to the world's largest free-roaming cheetah and black rhino population.
The Dorop National Park covers the country's entire 1,570-kilometer coastline.
This is a Namibian dollar, which is the official currency of Namibia. This is a South African rand. They're both 20 notes, and you can spend South African rand in Namibia. However, your change will be given back to you in Namibian dollars. Just remember, don't take your Namibian dollars out of the country because you won't be able to spend them. So we met this guy. His name is Giel Steenkamp, and he is of Afrikaan origin, but he was born here on this farm in Namibia, 7,000 hectares. And on this farm, he found by accident 250-million-year-old fossils called Mesosaurus.
About 30 years ago, I built this road here. And while I was working here on my tractor, my son played around in the area. He was 10 years old. And he called me from a tractor and he showed me a piece of sediment like this, which I worked out of the road here. It was the very first one. And we put it here in cement.
Yeah.
For it's safer here than close to the road. But he showed me these markings there and these markings. And then I hit it on a crack and it fell open on this one.
Wow.
And there you see the front leg. They were from the Mesozoic time, the middle time, and Saurus is a reptile, so that's a reptile from the middle time. But they were not very big. The smallest ones were 35 centimeters, the biggest ones were 1 meter long. But during that stage, they were the big creatures in the area.
So as you can see how dry this area is, and it's this way year-round, very hot, very dry, very arid climate. But 250 million years ago, if you can imagine, this was a swamp. And it's all just very fascinating that how this landscape could have changed from a swampy environment to what it is today.
And you see, this is my property here, but our laws forbid me to open the fossils. And that is a very good law, for I do not have the skill. If I open it, I shall damage it.
So we came out further out into the farm where the fossils are. It was not a road for a little car, but this little car has been on a lot of these kinds of roads, and I know people look at us funny because we're not driving a 4x4, but I'm telling you, my car, it made it.
The farm is also blessed with an enormous Quiver Tree Forest that goes on for as far as the eyes can see. Behind me here you can see the quiver tree, also known as a cockerboom. Unlike other desert trees who send their roots very deep in search of water, these trees have very short roots that go out in a big area. So when it does rain here, it drinks up that water very quickly and stores it in the trunk and the stems. And these trees can live to be hundreds of years old. One of the fascinating things about the quiver tree is that it is also an aloe. We all know the little aloe vera house plants that we use for medicinal purposes, but this is a big aloe tree which can also be used for the exact same medicinal purposes. If you just look at this tree trunk, it's hard to imagine that this is an aloe plant. Just look at the bark. It's amazing. It's almost like sheets of paper that peel off, and it actually does peel off. It exposes a solid trunk. Sand people, the Bushmen, got water from these trees for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And they also used the stems of these trees. They would dry out, they would hollow them out like this, and they would attach a piece of animal hide to the bottom and turn it into something like this to store their arrows in, sling it over their back, hence the name quiver tree. We're here at the Giant's Playground. Would you look at these rocks? Aren't they amazing? I am loving this. These rocks were formed millions of years ago as magma rose to the surface of the earth but did not break through the crust. The red in these rocks is iron ore that is oxidizing, and the black is manganese that is oxidizing. And this oxidization forms what is called a desert varnish. And this makes a fine patina over the rocks. In some places it's shiny like a varnish, and it actually protects the rocks from eroding any further. The Giant's Playground seems to go on and on. It goes as far back as we can see, back in that direction and on both sides. And I mean, you could truly get lost back there, so you do need to stick to the path. In Keetmanshoop, we're staying at a wonderful place called the Quiver Inn, and today we were able to see 3 amazing sights in just a short drive. For 100 Rand, or roughly $6 US, we saw the Quiver Tree Forest and the Giant's Playground. And right on up the road past that is the Mesosaurus fossil site and campground. And for 130 Rand, or roughly $8, you get the guided tour, and the fossils are amazing, and the quiver trees are actually more impressive there.
We spent the last 2 nights in Keetmanshoop, and it sure has changed over the last 6 or 7 years since I was last there. And we are now headed due west on the most perfect road to Luderitz. So we're driving from Keetmanshoop to Luderitz on a very desolate road, and you've got a little bit of scrub and bush. Then you drive straight in and there's just the bleakness of the desert. One of the cool things about being out here is that they've got desert horses. And sure enough, we were really lucky today to see a couple.
While the port town of Luderitz itself doesn't have a lot to see, it does have some beautiful German architecture. Just south of Luderitz is Diaz Point, where Portuguese explorer Bartolomeu Diaz, the first European explorer to round the tip of southern Africa, erected a cross on a stone pillar in 1488. For hundreds of years, visiting seafarers and explorers mentioned Diaz Point in their logbook and used it as a navigational aid. We came to Luderitz for the night so we could spend the next morning exploring the nearby ghost town of Kolmanskop. 40-year time frame, Kolmanskop was created, flourished, and left for an abandoned ghost town. Since 1954, the Namib Desert has been slowly taking over Kolmanskop in a sea of sand. Originally just a small outpost, Kolmanskop underwent an enormous transformation due to a miner finding a diamond laying on top of the sand here, and the diamond rush was on. Wealth of the first diamond miners that got here built this town, and they had a swimming pool, a bowling alley, a theater, a hospital, and they actually had the first X-ray machine in the southern hemisphere. Kolmanskop really is amazing. You don't realize the scale of this place. They were living opulently out here. These homes are massive, and it is so interesting to go through them and see how the people were living in that time period. In 1980, De Beers Mining Company came in and invested some money and turned Kolmanskop into a museum. The whole town is a museum. And I guess that was a way to repay the area for all the wealth that they gained from Kolmanskop. But you have to wonder, seeing how much sand is continually flowing in here, how much longer can these buildings really last before they're completely buried under the desert?
We're on our way now to central Namibia. We've been really fortunate to have mostly tarred roads in the lower half while in Keetmanshoop and drive to Luderitz. There aren't very many tarred roads in Namibia, and they do have really, really good navigation of roads, but the majority of them are dirt. Still good enough for a car to drive, but yeah, sometimes they're a bit of a challenge.
The long driving days in Namibia can be exhausting, but the scenery along the way is unreal. On the way to our next stop, we passed some incredible desert mountains that were absolutely breathtaking.
We took a 4-hour drive from Kolmanskop to this wonderful campsite called Mount Durban. Although we're sleeping in tents, we've got our own private bathroom with a wonderful shower and a toilet and our own kitchen area and what they call a braai area, which is a barbecue. There's great owners, and we went to the farm this morning and picked up fresh baked bread and with homemade jam, guava jam, and also a huge pack of meat with lamb and sausages and steaks. It was awesome.
This was our first time camping on this trip, and we couldn't have picked a better spot. We spent 2 nights and did nothing but relax and take in the beautiful southern Namibian desert scenery.
Tomorrow, we're headed north to central Namibia, so check out our next video. It's coming out soon. And we've crossed the border over to Namibia, and we're now